WLIB, 1190 AM in New York. We're streaming to you across the country on a number of platforms, including Facebook and nationalactionnetwork.net. We are live right here in the House of Justice, 106 West 145th Street. Call somebody. Tell them the action is on the air. The Reverend Dr. Al Sharpton is in the house and getting ready to come to you. We're so pleased to be with you on this Saturday morning, because if it's Saturday and you hear the cry of no justice, no peace, you know this is where the action is. Our president and founder is the Reverend Dr. Al Sharpton. Chairman of the board is the Reverend Dr. W. Franklin Richardson, senior pastor of Grace Baptist Church in Mount Vernon, New York. I'm attorney Michael Hardy. Will be with you throughout the broadcast this morning. We are so pleased to have today, for our inspirational word segment, Dr. Jonathan A. McLaren. He's the senior pastor at Ark City Church in the great city of Newark, New Jersey. Also, if it's Saturday, our musical director, Tyrone Richardson, is in the house, along with the Change Choir and the band ensemble. And of course, if it's Saturday, our dear sister, Katrina Jefferson, coordinator of all things here at the House of Justice, and also special liaison to our president and founder, Reverend Dr. Al Sharpton, will be here to ask you, what's on your mind? Now, you should be thinking about a lot, because there's been so much going on, including a big congratulations to all of you who helped make the March on Washington a huge success. So there should be something you're thinking about, something that you want to share with Katrina Jefferson, and you can do so by letting her know what's on your mind. If you're not here and you've not had an opportunity to give Katrina something that you're thinking about, you can still do so. You can call 877-626-4651 and let her know what's on your mind, or you can email what's on your mind to what'sonyourmind@nationalactionnetwork.net. And of course, brothers and sisters, our president and founder is in the house and getting ready to come to you. So call somebody. Tell them the action is on the air. Brothers and sisters, we always remind you, and especially want to remind you, that on this Monday, which is September 4th, the NAN Youth Huddle will not meet. The Youth Huddle will not meet on Monday, September 4th, due to the Labor Day holiday. The huddle will host a community back-to-school affair right after the House of Justice, right in front of the House of Justice on Sunday, September 10th, from 2 to 4 p.m. All are welcome. Youth especially encouraged to attend. Again, the huddle will host a community back-to-school fair right outside the House of Justice on Sunday, September 10th, 12 to 4 p.m. All are welcome. Youth especially encouraged to attend. The next Youth Huddle Forum will be held on Monday, September 11 at 6 p.m. So spread the word and get into the action with our youngest and brightest, dreamers of today and leaders of tomorrow. For more information on the Youth Huddle experience, you can call 877-626-4651 or email nantheyouthhuddle@gmail.com. Also, tune in to MSNBC's Politics Nation with Al Sharpton every Saturday and Sunday at 5 p.m. live on MSNBC. That's today, Saturday, 5 p.m. Tomorrow, Sunday, 5 p.m. You want to tune in to MSNBC's Politics Nation with Al Sharpton. Right now, brothers and sisters, Dr. Alvin Ponder, the Vice President of the New York City chapter, will come and give you some additional information. Let's give him a welcome.
Thank you, Attorney Hardy. Good morning, brothers and sisters, friends and neighbors, and thank you for tuning in to another Saturday Action Rally with the National Action Network, and congratulations, fellow marchers. Here's some information to keep you in the know. The 60th anniversary of the March on Washington. On Saturday, August 26, tens of thousands of people from various backgrounds, ages, and areas from around the country gathered in the nation's capital for the 60th anniversary of the March on Washington called The Continuation. Reverend Al Sharpton, National Action Network, Martin Luther King III, Andrea Waters King, and the Drum Major Institute convened a broad coalition for the march that addressed everything from voting rights and economic justice to police brutality and threats to our democracy. Along with Reverend Sharpton and members of the King family, the speakers included a wide array of folks, including actor Sacha Baron Cohen, Andrew Young Jr., the Honorable Andrew Young Jr., House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries, Patriots owner Robert Kraft, activists, elected officials, clergy, labor leaders, youth voices, and more. NAN and the Drum Major Institute partnered with 60 national organizations for the 60th anniversary march. They included such diverse groups as UNIDOS, the National Urban League, the Anti-Defamation League, Asians Americans Advancing Justice, GLAAD, Gay and Lesbian Alliance Against Defamation, and so many more. At a moment when hate crimes are on the rise, reproductive rights and civil rights are under threat, and marginalized communities face new challenges, it was imperative to make the March on Washington as inclusive as possible. The intergenerational and diverse attendees marched from the Lincoln Memorial to Dr. King's Memorial. In addition to recognizing the historical significance of the 60th anniversary, everyone renewed their commitment to continue fighting for equality and justice, in other words, for Dr. King's vision. President Biden meets with Reverend Sharpton and King family. Now, on Monday, President Biden marked the 60th anniversary of the March on Washington by meeting with the King family and civil rights leaders at the White House. Reverend Sharpton, Martin Luther King III, Andrea Waters King were among those invited to attend this meeting with the President and Vice President Kamala Harris. President Biden discussed a host of subjects, including the rise of hate-fueled violence, and referenced the recent horrific shooting in Jacksonville, Florida. Following the meeting with the President and Vice President, Reverend Sharpton held a brief presser outside the White House with members of the King family by his side. He reminded the press that on Saturday, they marched and stood up for the issues of today, just as people stood and marched for issues 60 years ago. He emphasized that as they were united and marching by the thousands, a hate crime was committed in Jacksonville, Florida. He said it was time for a second hate crime summit, and this time it should be held in Jacksonville. Hate and terror in Jacksonville. As thousands rallied with Reverend Sharpton, the National Action Network, at the 60th anniversary March on Washington, a horrific hate crime unfolded in Jacksonville, Florida. According to police, a white man wearing a mask and carrying a weapon with a swastika on it gunned down and killed 3 black people at a Dollar General store in what was a horrendous racist attack. Reverend Sharpton immediately denounced the deadly shooting and addressed it while still in D.C. During President Biden's meeting with the civil rights leaders and the King family on the 60th anniversary of the March on Washington, Reverend Sharpton said they called for a second hate crime summit and emphasized that it should be held in Jacksonville. He held a brief press conference following the meeting and reminded everyone why we still must march. Reverend Sharpton said, as much hope as we represent, there will always be those that keep hate alive. Welcome to all of you who have tuned in and join us also via live stream at www.nationalactionnetwork.net and also live on Facebook at National Action Network. If this is your first time, join us, and or if you're not a member of NAN, we welcome you to NAN and invite you to join us and get into the action today. For more information and to join, you may visit again www.nationalactionnetwork.net or call 877-626-4651. Again, that number is 877-626-4651, or just text the word NAN, N-A-N, to 59769. Welcome.
All right, thank you, Dr. Ponder, for those notes. Right now, brothers and sisters, it's our dear sister, Katrina Jefferson, coordinator of all things here at National Action Network. She wants to know what's on your mind. Good morning, Katrina.
Good morning, Attorney Hardy, and good morning to each and every one of you who are here live with us here at the House of Justice, to those that are watching by way of live streaming on our Facebook pages and on our website, www.nationalactionnetwork.net, and to you who are listening live on WLIB 1190 AM. Welcome to another weekend's conversation of What's on Your Mind, where you, the people, and the community have the opportunity to share your thoughts, your viewpoints, your perspectives with us here at the National Action Network. You can email us, which is suggested, at What's on Your Mind at nationalactionnetwork.net. Again, that email address is What's on Your Mind at nationalactionnetwork.net. You can call us, 877-626-4651, or you can mail in your thoughts, which a lot of people have been doing that are tuning in from across the country. And our address is 106 West 145th Street, New York, 10039. That's also where you can send your contributions. We've got a robust line here in the house, and I know my cameraman told me to stay stationary, but I can't, because I got to go to dear Mother Ivy, which is somewhere. And, oh, here she is, looking like beloved angel of Mary Grace. Good morning, dear Mother. Give the people your name, let them know where you're from, and share with them what is on your mind today. And welcome back.
Good morning, family, and my babies. You know what? I missed you guys. I missed you. But guess what? It's my birthday. It's my birthday. It's my birthday. Oh, and I'm here to serve Reverend Sharpton notice. Me and Ashley will not allow any birthdays. September will remain. So everybody that has a birthday after September, we like to apologize to you guys. I'm so sorry that you was not born in September. And Mike, you was fortunate that you was able to celebrate your birthday. So after that, there will be no more birthdays. My birthday is going to be next Sunday, September the 10th. But I celebrate the whole month. I celebrate. So if Katrina and Mike and Rev would allow me, remember last year I celebrated my birthday with you guys. So next Saturday, if they allow me, Mother will have cake for you guys, okay? God bless you.
And Mother, tell the people how many years young you'll be this year.
Say that again.
How many years young you will be?
89 years young.
All right. Thank you so much for sharing. Dear Mother Ivy, what's on your mind? And yes, she does bring cakes for us to all partake of every year in true Virgo fashion. Good morning. Give us your name. Let us know where you're from and share with us what's on your mind.
Good morning, Nan family. I am born in Albany, New York, raised up in Saratoga Springs, New York, and it's my birthday.
What's your name?
Oh. Reverend Crone Goddess Kennedy. And on the 22nd of September, I will be celebrating 85 years on the earth. What's on my mind is, I want everybody in here that's not a member of National Action Network to join. I want everybody that is LGBTQ. I am the mother of the movement starting in 1969 when we started to fight back. Join National Action Network. Y'all went to the March on Washington last week. Now it's time to come home and do the work. And let's get busy. So, I'm celebrating, like I said, 85 years on the earth, and I'm thankful for my 4 living kids, my oldest son,
Mother.
and Reverend Sharpton, the same age.
Excellent.
Okay, all right. So to the 16 grandchildren, 31 great-grandchildren, and 2 great-great-grands, hey, everybody, let's get busy.
Yes, all of the mothers, kinfolk, let's get busy. Good morning. Give us your name, let us know where you're from, and share with everybody, not just those that are in the house, but keep in mind there are people watching by way of live streaming and listening by way of radio. Tell us what's on your mind.
Good morning. My name is Brenda Ricketts. I'm from Yonkers, New York, by way of the Bronx. What's on my mind is I'd like to thank everybody on bus number 11 who went to Washington last week for making our bus a great bus and making my trip as bus captain pleasurable. I'd also like to thank the genealogists at the Riverfront Library in Yonkers for giving me unlimited access to their databases. Yes, and this Wednesday, I accessed a bank account in the Freedmen's Bank in Wilmington, North Carolina, and found my great-great-grandfather's cousin. Thank you.
Wow, that's tremendous. Thank you so much for sharing. Good morning. Give us your name. Let us know where you're from and share with the people what's on your mind.
Good day, everybody, and God bless everybody. My name is Sister Reverend Word. I'm from Heaven, born in Harlem. I'm 72 years old and new. And of course, what's on my mind, I'm a National Action Network lifetime member. And Bible scriptures is on my mind. Christ Jesus is on my mind. What Christ Jesus showed us that with God-given love, we must also strategize to fight this evil that is here. Now, what I saw at the march that wasn't visible to a lot of people, but what I saw was a lot of God-given love. God-given love. That's the way we're going to fight this hate, with God-given love. God bless you. Good day.
Thank you so much for sharing, Sister Word. Good morning. Give us your name. Let the people know where you're from and share what's on your mind today.
Good morning. I'm Teresa Thompson from the Bronx and born and raised in Harlem. Praise God. I got 2 quick things on my mind. What's been catching my attention for the last 2 weeks is this situation in Africa, especially West Africa, where the people are rising up. They're getting sick and tired of living under these terrible conditions that's been going on for decades. The continent is perhaps the richest continent on the face of the earth, and the indigenous African is not enjoying the wealth. So they have this petition going for One Africa right now at Swahili Nation, and you need to go there and sign the petition. They need 100 million signatures for a one united Africa instead of the way it's been chopped up into all these little pieces by these colonizers over the decades. Amen. Second thing I wanted to say was that if you are interested in money matters, investing, starting your own business, it runs the gamut, whatever. There's a sessions that they do every Wednesday night. You can go to info@mainstreetempowerment.com. I'll put some flyers in the back, and you need to avail yourself of these things. Every Wednesday night at 7. I'll have more flyers soon. Thank you. God bless.
Thank you so much for sharing. Did you have something to share, brother? All right. Good morning. Give the people your name. I'm going to ask that you face me so my arm doesn't hurt. And let us know where you're from and share what's on your mind.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Kelvin McIntyre, born and raised in Vicksburg, Mississippi, and I hail from Honolulu, Hawaii. I've been here, I came for the Dr. King March, which was a wonderful thing. The biggest thing for me is to help our youth to understand Black history and to understand and recognize what has transpired from early 1800s to today. And a lot of that hate is still alive and well today. And that's what, they don't want us to know. I actually wore a t-shirt that had what they don't want you to know, but it had a map of Black massacres. There's much more than Tulsa, Oklahoma, Florida, other places. Even in my hometown of Vicksburg, Mississippi, I wasn't aware in 1874 that we had a Black sheriff. And long story short, at the end of what happened to him, there was over 150 people massacred in my hometown. Wow. I didn't learn this until I was 56 years old. So that's what they don't want you to know. So we need to understand, teach our youth our history, and help them to recognize where we are today.
And tell the people your name again.
Kelvin McRaven.
And will we see you here around at NAN to share that history?
I'm visiting, but I will be on the bus to New Jersey today. Is that right, Don? Yeah, so I'm making the ride.
All right, and you can actually tune in virtually too, so we'll make sure you have the information before you depart to head back to Mississippi. But thank you so much for bringing some of that Mississippi energy and love to us here in the great state of New York, and for sharing it with those that are tuning in virtually from across the country. We are going to close with a email from our in-the-house historian, Brother Rodney Jones of Queensbridge, New York, who was also one of the bus captains for two of the buses that departed out of the borough of Queens. And this one is regarding Alfred Daniel Williams King. Alfred Daniel Williams King was born July 30th, 1930 in Atlanta, Georgia. He was a son of Reverend Martin Luther King and Alberta Williams King, the youngest of their three children, the other two being Willie Christine, born September 11th, 1927, and Martin Luther King Jr., born January 15th, 1929. In contrast to his peacemaking brother, Martin A.D., according to his father, was a little rough at times and let his toughness build a reputation throughout their neighborhood. Less interested in academics than his siblings, King started a family of his own while still a teenager and attended college later in life. He was married on June 17, 1950 to Naomi Ruth Barber King, born November 17, 1931, with whom he had 5 children: Alveda, Alfred Jr., Derek, Darlene, and Vernon. Although as a young youth, King had strongly resisted his father's ministerial urgings, he eventually began assisting his father at Ebenezer Baptist Church. In 1959, King graduated from Morehouse College. That same year, he left Ebenezer Baptist to become pastor of Mount Vernon First Baptist Church in Noonan, Georgia. King often traveled with his brother and was in Memphis on April 4th, 1968, when his brother was shot dead. King was in the room directly beneath Martin's at the Lorraine Hotel when the gun blast went off. And when he saw his brother lying mortally wounded, he had to be restrained by others due to the shock and overwhelming emotion he was experiencing. On July 21st, 1969, 9 days before his 39th birthday, King was found dead in the swimming pool at his home. The cause of death was listed as an accidental drowning. However, it is likely that the stress of his brother's high-profile activist work and the trauma of his assassination exacerbated A.D.'s heart problems, a rumor disclaimed by his wife, of which there was a family history. His father said in his autobiography, Alveda had been up the night before, she said, talking with her father and watching a television movie with him. He'd seem unusually quiet and not very interested in the film. But he had wanted to stay up, and Alveda left him sitting in an easy chair, staring at the TV, and she went off to bed. I had questions about A.D.'s death, and I still have them now. He was a good swimmer. Why did he drown? I don't know. I don't know that we will ever know what happened. Naomi King, his widow, said, there's no doubt in my mind that he would have still been here if other decisions had been made. No justice, no peace. And that was contributed by our very own Rodney Jones. And that my dear brothers and sisters, family and friends, and community, concludes this weekend's conversation of What's on Your Mind. Keep in mind, everything that you heard here were simply the thoughts and the viewpoints of those who contributed and do not reflect those of the National Action Network directly. And you can interact with us 24 hours a day by emailing us at whatsonyourmind@nationalactionnetwork.net. Again, that email address is whatsonyourmind@nationalactionnetwork.net. Or you who are outside of New York may call us at 877-626-4651. And if you're in the area, show up like our dear brother from Mississippi did. Back to you, Attorney Hardy.
All right. Thanks, Katrina, for a great episode of What's on Your Mind. Right now, our Nan Change Choir soloist, Tisha Hunter.
Good morning, Nan. This is the day that the Lord has made. This is the day that the Lord has made. I will rejoice and be glad in it. I will rejoice and be glad in it. Oh, this is the day that the Lord has made. This is the day that the Lord has made. I will rejoice and be glad in it. I will rejoice and be glad. So we sing. Hallelujah. We praise. We praise your name. Hallelujah. We praise. Hallelujah. We lift you high in this place. Come on. This is the day that the Lord has made. This is the day that the Lord has made. I will rejoice and be glad in it. I will rejoice and be glad in it. Oh, this is the day that the Lord has made. This is the day that the Lord has made. I will rejoice and be glad in it. I will rejoice and be glad. So we sing. Hallelujah. We bless. Say, we praise. Hallelujah. We lift you high in this Say, yeah, yeah. Listen. Lift up your voice and say, Hallelujah. Lift up your voice and say, Hallelujah. We come to bless the Lord. Say, Hallelujah. Say, lift up your voice and say, Hallelujah. We come to bless the Lord. Come on and bless him with me. Say, Hallelujah. Oh, hallelujah. 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 Say, hallelujah. Hallelujah. Say, hallelujah. Oh, hallelujah. Hallelujah. Bless his name. Lift him up. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Say, hallelujah. Hallelujah. Bless his name. Lift him up. My God is good. Hallelujah. Say, hallelujah. Come on, give him praise.
That was Tisha Hunter, our Nan Change Choir soloist, of course, accompanied by the Change Choir Ensemble, all under the direction of our musical director, Minister Tyrone Richardson. Brothers and sisters, we're going to bring you in the house. In the house is all about the work of the committees here at National Action Network, and this week it'll be Arno Penix, chairperson of Arts and Culture, bringing us in the house.
Grand Rising. This is Arnold Penix, a.k.a. A. Gregory Harris, and this is the Nan, a.k.a. Blacker than black can be, blackety black, the big black man. Black people showed up and showed out at the 60th anniversary of the March on Washington. The Nan performing activist had his own bus, and let's just say that I'm going to leave that right there. We bring the drama, okay? In Anarch News, let's see here. Yeah, in Anarch News, Netflix will be streaming Judgment Day of the Tupac 50th anniversary of hip hop concert tour in association with the NAN Youth Huddle as part of our youth recruitment. The NAN Theater for the Formerly Incarcerated is on a mission to register parolees to vote in the 2024 election, okay? And the play takes place in the limbo, spiritual limbo, when which the Tupac Shakur is fighting for his soul. The cast includes Anthony Nance making his debut as the Tupac role, and we also have Denzel Vaughn, who is also playing the role of Biggie Smalls, and also playing the role of Busta Rhymes, and also playing the role of Suge Knight. Dominic Sharpton is slated to make a celebrity cameo as the hip-hop diva, and also Nanarch News. The Dream Shoot came up on August 7th, September 11th. The Dream Shoot was the 60th anniversary of the March on Washington held at Marcus Garvey Park. The NAN performing activists marched in the Garvey Parade on Garvey Day, August 17th, as Black historical figures. Shout out to Nya Shantawa, who did a wonderful job organizing the parade. Join the NAN Arts and Culture Committee and become a NAN performing activist. Learn stagecraft, playwriting, script, TV, and technical work, and also be a part of our many, many projects. And that's the NAN Arts and Culture Report. Please sure to look at our website at blacktothefuture.com. That's www.blacktothefuture.com. Also check out our NANflix streaming, and also become a part of our NAN Got Talent YouTube channel. And that's the NAN Arts and Culture Report, and that's in the house. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Arnold, for bringing us in the house here at National Action Network, the Change Ensemble under the direction of Minister Tyrone Richardson. Yes, indeed. That is the Change Ensemble under the direction of our musical director, Minister Tyrone Richardson. Brothers and sisters, want to let you know that the first annual memorial service for Bernard Placide Jr., who was killed by Inglewood police officers, will be held today, Saturday, September 2nd, from 11:30 to 3:30 p.m. at the Milton Bote Park in the Bandshell and Palisades Avenue in Teaneck, New Jersey. The Reverend Dr. Al Sharpton will be the keynote speaker for the event. It'll be honoring civil rights leaders, the Reverend Dr. Herbert Daughtry of Global Ministries, Larry Ham, the People's Organization for Progress, and Minister Baba Zaid, Newark Communities for Accountable Policing will all be there. If you need additional information, you can call 201-736-2209. A number of groups, including National Action Network, NCAP, and others are supporting the event. I believe there will be a bus leaving right here from the House of Justice, so you want to make sure you get on the bus to support the Placide family. All right, we are indeed honored this morning to have with us for our inspirational word segment, hailing from the great city of New Jersey. He's the senior pastor of Ark City Church in Newark. It is the Dr. Jonathan A. McLaren. Let's give him a National Action Network welcome.
Good morning, grace and peace be unto you from God our Father and our Lord Jesus Christ. It is a good time to be found in this great space and in this great time. It is my honor and it is my blessed privilege to be found in this National Action Network on this great Saturday morning, and to also be here with the one and only, the Reverend Dr. Al Sharpton, and to Dr. W. Franklin Richardson, and to all of you that make up this great aggregation. It is certainly my privilege to share just briefly the word of the Lord that is found in the book of 2 Chronicles, chapter number 20. If you would just indulge me, your intellect, for a few fleeting moments, the English Standard Version reads on this wise. It is there, 2 Chronicles chapter 20, verse number 14, and then we will conclude at verse 15. The word of God reads, "And the Spirit of the Lord came upon Jehaziel, the son of Zechariah, the son of Benaiah, the son of Jeiel, the son of Mattaniah, a Levite of the sons of Asaph, in the midst of the assembly. And he said, Listen, all Judah and inhabitants of Jerusalem, and King Jehoshaphat. Thus saith the Lord, Be not afraid, do not be dismayed of this great horde, for the battle is not yours, but God's." I want to talk for a few moments from the topic, the battle belongs to God. Will you do me a favor? Encourage somebody next to you. Tell them, say, the battle belongs to God. You know, some time ago, Yolanda Adams coined and wrote these lyrics. She said, "There is no pain Jesus cannot feel, no hurt he cannot heal. All things work according to his perfect will." No matter what you're going through, remember God is using you. For the battle is not yours, it's the Lord. She would then further coin to say, there's no sadness Jesus cannot heal. There is no sorrow he cannot feel. All things work according to the master's holy will. No matter what you are going through, remember God is only using you. For all things work according to the master's holy will. Again, no matter what you are going through, remember God is only using you. For the battle is not yours, but it's the Lord's. Beloveds of God, there was more to the lyrics, but I want to pause here to encourage you out of the text that I have read, because the book of 2nd Chronicles chapter number 20 shows us a king by the name of Jehoshaphat who's in a frantic state simply because he's received intelligence about an invasion. The people of Moab, Ammon, and Mount Seir has decided to come up from the side to invade Jehoshaphat's territory. And I want to tell you something, beloveds, that when problems and circumstances and situations come that catches you off guard, it will put fear in you. But I want to encourage you today that fear is not the absence of faith. Fear is not the absence of faith. As a matter of fact, fear is the response to the unknown. We've all been in situations, beloveds of God, where we didn't know where God was going to show up, when God was going to show up, but I found out that he may not come when you want him to, but he's always on time. Beloveds of God, as Jehoshaphat is in a frantic state and in a struggling state, not knowing what to do, not knowing where to go, not knowing where to turn, not knowing who to trust, he found himself in a place of prayer. At National Action Network, I want to tell you this morning that you have not accomplished what you have accomplished if it had not been for the Lord on your side. I don't care what anybody say. I don't care what anybody does. I want you to know that the reason why Reverend Sharpton is still standing and this great aggregation of leaders are still standing simply because God is on our side. Can you encourage yourself right now and say, the Lord is on my side? Beloveds of God, as we look further and see how Jehoshaphat is in a frantic state, I want to coin in and zero in on a man among them. There's a man in this particular text that I read to you that is among them. The leader in itself is fearful and concerned, but among them was a man by the name of Jehaziel. And Jehaziel, praise the name of the Lord, is one of a part of the Levitical order. He is of the clan of Asaph. And certainly the text would open up to tell us that the Spirit of the Lord came upon him. I want you to know, beloveds of God, that not only is the Lord on your side, but in order to get the plans in motion, in order to win, glory to God, in order for justice to be served, you're going to need the Spirit of God upon you. You're going to need the power of God and the strength, because it's not by might, it's not by power, but it's by the Spirit of the living God. Beloveds of God, the Bible says that Jehaziel received the Spirit of God. The deposit had come upon him. And when the king Jehoshaphat was in a frantic state, when the king was little concerned, the scripture would go to tell him, praise the name of the Lord, that Jehaziel said, I need y'all to shake yourself. I need you to get yourself together. We have somewhere to go. We have somewhere to be. And he says these words, beloveds of God. He said, do not be afraid. Will you do me a favor right now? Look at somebody and tell your neighbor, say, neighbor, do not be afraid. You have no reason to fear. Praise the name of the Lord. You have no reason to doubt. But the battle, he said, do not be afraid. The the battle is not yours, but it is the Lord's. And I just came on this Saturday morning to encourage somebody that's in this room and those that are watching me around the world to be encouraged in knowing that God is on your side. Be not wearied in well-doing, for in due season you shall reap if you faint not. And I know every now and then you're going to have to cry. I know every now and then you're going to have to fret. I know every now and then you're going to have to dust yourself off. But when you come to the awareness and you come to the realization of the power of God, know without a shadow of a doubt that there is consolation in knowing that the battle is not yours, but it's the Lord's. And as long as you know that the battle is not yours and it's God's, you can hold your head up and say, though he slay me, yet will I trust him. I know I may be going through right now, but I trust God, and I trust him to bring me out of it. I trust him to deliver me. I trust him to uphold me. I trust him to take me through, because the battle is not yours. Take your hands off of it. Don't you cry. Don't you fret, because God got you covered. Don't you cry. Don't you fret. Hold on, for the race is not given. Hold on, neither is the battle given. Hold on, because if God be with you, if God be for you, who can be against you? I don't care what the world is doing. I don't care what society is doing. I have hope today that the battle is not mine, but it's the Lord's. Somebody give God a praise right now.
That was Dr. Jonathan A. McLaren, Senior Pastor, Ark City Church, Newark, New Jersey, the Change Choir. Choir under the direction of our musical director, Minister Tyrone Richardson, and of course accompanied by the band ensemble of the Change Choir. Right now, brothers and sisters, I want you to get on your feet for the president and founder of the National Action Network, the Reverend Dr. Al Sharpton.
No justice. No justice. No justice. No justice. What do we want? What do we want? What do we want? When do we want it? 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 Fist bump the person next to you. Tell them you love them.
Never give up and never give in. A change will come. Keep faith down within. Troubles and trials won't last always. Nothing but pride. Hold on, be strong. A better day is coming and it won't be too long. Yes, change will come. Change will come. Change will come. Starting with you. Your change will come. Your change will come. Starting with you. Your change will come. Your change will come. Never give up and never give in. A change will come. Keep faith down with you. Troubles and trials won't last always. With God on our side, nothing but brighter days. Hold on, be strong. A better day is coming and it won't be too long. Yeah, change will come. Change will come. Change will come. Oh, your change will come. Your change. Just hang on in there. Your change will come. Your change. Just hang on in there. Your change will come. Oh, change will. Oh, change will come.
Last Saturday on my MSNBC show, I showed a picture of a lady that was South Asian who had two daughters with a brother from Jamaica. And the picture was her protesting what was going on against blacks in Birmingham, Alabama. Somebody found that picture and gave it to one of her daughters. Her daughters knew they had grown up being activists and being told you must fight racism. But they never had a picture of their mother actually involved in a march and being taunted for standing up for blacks in 1963. The daughter that showed me the picture grew up to become the Vice President of the United States. And as Vice President Kamala Harris, who has that picture of her mother with the protest sign in her office in the White House. First time she let any cameras in her private office was she let me do that, and I showed it last Sunday night. And I wanted to show that because you never know when you stand up for what's right, what's going to happen. It may happen in your life, it may happen in your child's life. But if you stand up for right, even if it's inconvenient, your change will come.
Your change will come. Your change. Don't you give up. Your change will come. Your change. Say, change will. Change will. Oh,
Monday after the march organizers had a meeting with President Biden and Vice President Harris laying out what we marched for and why we were there. And after the meeting was supposed to be an hour. It lasted about 2 hours, and President Biden brought us in the Oval Office to take a picture of the meeting. And one of the things that was striking to me as I looked around, we began to think about the history of the moment. And I thought about how President Kennedy in 1963, after the march, he had the march organizers in the Oval Office and listened to what they had to say. And they wanted to have the Civil Rights Act of 64 and Voting Rights Act, and they did get it. And we laid out what we wanted in terms of the John Lewis Voting Advancement Act and the George Floyd Justice and Policing Act and other things that Biden has already done. But what really struck me, Attorney Hardy, was as I was looking around the Oval Office, we had Yolanda Renee King with us, Dr. King's granddaughter, who was there at March with her mother and father now on the front line. If you keep on going, if you don't try to do your own thing, but just stay on the path God has given you, or you're going to get attacked from every side, but hold on anyhow. Don't try to be new. Don't try to be current. Don't try to be trendy. If follow the path God gave you from the King generation of the 60s to Yolanda at 15, we still marching because we know from our birthright that if we keep on standing, our change will come.
Your change will come. Your change. Just hang on in there. Your change will come. Your change. Don't you give up. Your will come. Your change. Oh, change will. Your change. Oh, your change will come. Your change. I know it will. Your change will come. Your change. Woo. It's gone. It's on the way. Oh, change will. Change will come. Oh, your change will come. Your change will come.
National Action Network Change Choir, give them a big hand. Give them a big hand. Certainly we're happy to be with you another Saturday morning. Saturday Action Rally for you that are here live in the House of Justice, 106 West 145th Street in the village of Harlem. And for you that are listening live on 1190 WLIB AM in New York, and you that are watching us on various media platforms, we're happy to be with you another Saturday to give our report on where the action is. Give a hand to our presider, Attorney Michael Hardy. Give a hand to our musical director, Minister Tyrone Richardson. And our brother Chris, the drummer, and our guitar player. Give them a hand. And give a hand to our inspirational speaker, Reverend Dr. Jonathan McLaren. Give Reverend McLaren a big hand. I was listening to him, and he was giving us the breakdown of Jehoshaphat, and then he kind of tuned up and started hooping in here. So I said, wait a minute now, this ain't Ark City now. And he went another octave. I said, well, I'm gonna have to go to Newark and hear him finish this. He can preach. Give him a hand, a great message. Great message and a timely message the week after the march. We needed to hear that. And we are grateful for his presence and his message. Let me reiterate, which has been announced, that today we're going to Englewood, New Jersey. And this is to raise the issue of justice for Bernard Placid. And I want all of you in New Jersey that are listening and you that can go to be with us. The program rally starts really at 11:30 and goes to about 2:30. We're gonna have a bus leave here, I believe. We have a bus, somebody? At noon the bus is leaving, and from the House of Justice. And for you that want to join with us and go, but we're going to be there at the Milton Vault Park band shell, which is on Palisades Avenue in Teaneck, New Jersey. And I want that this family has suffered, has not gotten any justice, but we're gonna stand with them. We don't fight for a timeline, we fight until justice comes. And I want all of us that can, you that are taking the bus here, and you that are listening to me, to join us in Teaneck, New Jersey. And Reverend Dr. Bishop Herbert Daughtry will join us, who was with us last week. Reverend Daughtry, 93 years old, and was at the March on Washington. Brother Larry Ham on the People's Organization for Progress, who I've known for the last many, many years. All of them will be there with the family, so make sure you join us. Let's welcome Impact Television family joining us. Let me say that we are on top of the police shooting. Many of you might have seen the video in Columbus, Ohio, where a police officer accused a pregnant woman of shoplifting, shot through the glass and killed her and the baby. And our national field director, Reverend Toome, has been talking to our chapters in Ohio, and we'll be definitely going in there. And certainly the killing in Jacksonville, Florida, of 3 blacks just for being black. And Bishop Rudy McKissick, who's on our board, our national board, is on top of that. Reverend Gunn, who works with us. And I've said, if you remember late last year, we had a hate summit in Washington at the White House. And it was co-chaired by National Action Network, Anti-Defamation League, National Urban League, UNIDOS, Asian American groups, and LGBTQ groups. And I've said that we need to have a second one. I told President Biden that. We need to have a second one right in Florida, where there is clear and present danger of people in the state of Florida. Let me also say, before I get into anything else, that I want to thank all of you that came and made the march a success. That's right, give yourselves a big hand. One of the things that struck me is the amount of young people and the amount of people from different communities that came. they kept calling me Brother Usar and Usman and the youth, Felipe and others, and they would put Ashley up to call me, saying they needed buses at certain campuses. And we were able to get people to underwrite. Robert Smith, black billionaire, gave money, and others. And we were able to get about 19 campuses with buses from as far as Florida and Mississippi. And one of the things that struck me is that I on a staff call last night, I asked our coordinator in Florida, Sister Palmore, I said, how long was the bus ride for the young folk in Miami that you brought? And then FAMU had about 5 buses from Tallahassee. She said it was 15 hours. I said, one way? She said, one way. They rode 30 hours there and back to be at the march last Saturday. All of those students, give them a big hand. If you reach out to our young folks, they'll reach back. And they were there. Put them on the program. They were there. And some of y'all think the movement is dependent on you. If you just get out the way, there are many folks that will do what needs to be done and ain't grumbling and mumbling about all the stuff you got. I was also glad to see the LGBTQ community and Jews and Muslims. Now, let me tell you something. If you're going to be in a tradition, then you need to know the tradition you're in. Somebody asked me, well, Reverend Al, 2 things I want to ask. I told them, I hope they're watching, because it was one of the preachers watched me Impact TV in the Midwest. I won't say his city, because everybody in his town know he know me. But he said, Reverend Al, why we got everybody coming to the march? I said, first thing is, in '63, it was a diverse march. If we're going to do something to 60th anniversary, we're not going to do it your way. We're going to do it the way. Secondly, all organizations going in to meet with Biden. The march organizers met with Kennedy after the march. Adam Clayton Powell was congressman. He wasn't in the meeting. Hello? Thurgood Marshall wasn't in the meeting. Brother Malcolm wasn't in the meeting. The ones that organized the march was in the meeting. So you think because you showed up, ain't bought a bus, ain't done nothing, didn't bring nobody, but you just showed up, you supposed to be in the photo op when you wasn't in the organizing op. I hope you watching me this morning, Reverend, because we was meeting 3 months to organize the march. What makes you think you were going to have a seat at the meeting after the march? What Reverend McLaren said, touch somebody and say, Reverend answered that. The objective of the march was to deal with hate crimes, was to deal with voting denial, was to deal with gun control and economic improprieties or inequality. Little did we know, I got up to speak about 2 o'clock. 34 people had been put under the health tents, and the folks had fainted. And they were giving them health to deal with whatever the medics do with with heat. And so they said about 10 to 2, too many people falling out, we got to cut off the sound. And Steve Benjamin, who heads department at the White House, said you can't cut it off for Sharp to speak. That's why I spoke quick so we could march, because we almost didn't get to speak because the people fell out. And it was that hot. People was all up under the bushes. I didn't realize how many people we had until we got ready to march and y'all come from under them trees. I got up on the roster, I said, don't look like the crowd I want. They said, oh, they here. They just under the trees. In fact, the other day I asked one of the people in the national parks, I said, how many people did we end up having? He said, we can't give out numbers because we were sued for that in the past. He said, but I'll tell you off the record, if anybody tell you you had less than 155,000, they lying to you. But don't take my word for it. Go on my Instagram page or social media. We got the pictures. When we marched from Lincoln Memorial to the Dr. King Monument, if you look at the picture, the end of the line was barely out of the grounds of Lincoln Memorial when I was already on stage at the King Memorial. You can't do that with no 40,000 folks. But folks that operate on trying to count heads than trying to get something done only expose their pettiness and their smallness rather than being prepared and qualified to deal with the big issues. You can't, Mrs. Coretta Scott King used to say to me, Al, you can't be big and small at the same time. Small people are always looking for small things because their heads can't get out of smallness. My focus was if we can get everybody together, blacks, gays, Jews, Muslims, Latinos, it gives us the same strength they had in 63 to pass the Civil Rights Act in 64 and the Voting Rights Act in 65. That's how they did it, because they had more in numbers. And we trying to get the George Floyd bill passed and the John Lewis bill passed. We are not trying to get us in a situation that we're isolated and can't protect our own people because we will not work with everybody that's fighting for the same thing. And don't make me less black to work with everybody else. If your blackness is only accentuated if you only among other black folk, then something insecure about your blackness. That's like some of you church folk. Y'all only can be holy if you hang around holy folk. I don't go around folk in the world. Yeah, because you afraid you're going to be weak. If you really saved, you can be around anybody, they ain't going to make you do nothing that's wrong. Hello? Our objective was clear of what we was after, our 4 points. Little did we know, as I was saying, Dominique, and then put me up by 2 o'clock, I did a few minutes, led the march. At the exact time we were marching, this man in Jacksonville took an AR-15, part of why we was marching, had a swastika on the AR-15, Jews, Hitler, Nazis, swastika, and went and tried to go in a black school. Some of those students in the school had got on the bus from Jacksonville at the YMCA coming up to the march. Went over, it couldn't get, wasn't comfortable, whatever it is, the evidence is not there yet on why he left the school. But he left there, Dr. McLaren, and went to the Dollar General store and shot 3 blacks while we were marching for being black. And you wonder why we marching? Hate and guns was the reason, part of the reason for the march was demonstrated right there. Now, the thing that came to my mind is 2.5 weeks after the original March on Washington in '63. A man put dynamite in the 16th Street Baptist Church in Birmingham, Alabama, and there was the bombing of the church in Birmingham where 4 little girls were killed. There is always going to be a reaction to the action. That should not deter you, it should make you more determined. I thought about when Martin III and Andre Waters King and I were on our way back to the hotel, and we heard about this shooting, and we were going on from there to NBC to do my show live. We didn't even know it was a racial killing yet. All we heard it was a massacre, shooting. And I thought about when it later came out it was racial, that I would have felt even worse if we hadn't marched and hadn't dealt with hate. But so many of us are caught up on such small agendas that we are not going to stand up. We got to keep marching. We got to keep this agitation going because we got to pass these bills and then get them enforced. That's why we call a national action network. A lot of y'all got a national gripe message going on. You'd be surprised. But let me tell you something. They did the same thing in Dr. King's era. They did the same thing, and everybody that fought. You are always going to get those that want to see what they can criticize rather than what they can enhance. Because they're too petty to make a difference. And one of the things that I'm determined about is try to make this organization not be tribal but global so that we can handle the global things. And I want to give a hand. I want to give a hand to our workers, our volunteers, people that worked here at the House of Justice. Those that loaded them buses. We had about 30-some buses out of here. Katrina Jefferson and all of the team here, Ashley Sharpton and all of the youth and college division. Dominique did all of the logistics. Just everybody, Reverend Toom, everybody that worked. If I didn't call your name, believe me, it is because we only have a certain amount of time on the air. But I appreciate everybody's work, but we got to keep on. We have to keep on until we get these bills passed. Let me also say, I was thinking when we were sitting there in the Roosevelt room meeting with the president Monday, they're going to try to get us off focus on what this 2024 campaign is about. First of all, it's not only for president, but it's the Senate, it's the Congress, everything. They're saying that Biden is too old. Some of y'all saw the pictures of the meeting. I was sitting right next to Biden, so I'm watching because we in there 2 hours. I'm a lot younger, so I'm gonna see what kind of stamina, because maybe I done been around Biden many times. I ain't never seen no signs he too old, so I'm gonna see. We said this long, I see any sign. And it occurred to me that you got people that talk about Biden's too old at 80 that want Trump who's 77, who eats Big Macs and French fries and got a gut hanging over his belt. I mean, something about that don't make sense to me. Then you got younger people running on their youth. If all you got to offer in leadership is that you young. You're exposing your inexperience right there. Folk don't follow you because you young. Folk follow you because you got something to say and got a vision to do something. They come out Tuesday, as soon as we was back in town. 2003, I was running for president. I'm doing a session at Harvard University. Chris Matthews, hardball show. Young man, 18 years old, got up in the audience challenging me with a question. Reverend Sharpton, last week we had Senator Edwards. And the week before that, here at Harvard, we had Senator John Kerry. Now we having all the candidates. Why would we vote for somebody that doesn't have political experience? And I said, you shouldn't, because I got more political experience than all of them. And I ran down the political experience. I was youth director of Operation Breadbasket when I was 12 years old. I was 48 when they asked me the question. I grew up in movements that made policy, that wrote laws, that changed corporate policy. Having political experience is not holding a job. It's being able to have those with a job do what needs to be done. Young man ended up being, the reason that put the tape out is it was Vivek Ramaswamy, this young guy running Republican primaries. And somebody put out on the internet, and it was all over the news, that Vivek at 18 questioned Reverend Sharpton. Reverend Sharpton shot back fast. So I had my producers in MSNBC call them, and I'm gonna have them on my show today at 5 o'clock. 5 o'clock, MSNBC. I'm gonna have him on. I'm gonna have Congresswoman Frederica Wilson talk about the shootings in Florida. I'm gonna have him on. Because what I don't understand is he asked me how I ran for president with no political experience. He's run for president now and they never had a political position. So I want to know if maybe my answer educated him. Maybe. And everybody told me, well, don't, you know, he's really a demagogue and be careful with him. He can come and talk policy or he can come and try to play game. Either way, he can get Reverend Al or he can get Brother Al from Brownsville, whichever one he wants. But y'all can watch that. If you get Brother Al from Brownsville, just call Reverend McLaren and tell him to pray for me. I want us to understand, though, in the climate of this march, the seriousness of the hour. The seriousness and the gravity of the time we're in. There's a group headed by Edward Bloom and Stephen's last name out of the White House. He was in the White House, Stephen Miller. They have gone and provided the basis of the Supreme Court challenging affirmative action. I want y'all to get this. They fought the case of Harvard all the way to North Carolina and won the lawsuit that the Supreme Court had basically outruled affirmative action. One of the lines in the decision was that race cannot be a factor And they're using that now, because they won that. They're using that now to go after corporations and law firms. Many of you heard, and we had them speak at the march, about these two black girls, black ladies, I should say, in Atlanta, Georgia, have a group called the Fearless Fund that had raised millions of dollars to give black women startup money for their businesses. They're suing them, saying that's racist. They now have sent letters to law firms that are saying we need more diversity. We're looking for blacks that want to go to law school, saying that you can't do that, it's racist. They are trying to take back everything that was gained from 60 years to now. While y'all run around talking about who y'all like, what leader y'all like, what this guy, this lady, that lady, they are robbing us of the rights that were won, and we are not organizing against it. They are trying to go at DEI, diversity, equity, involvement, all over the country. And when you look up, the jobs will be gone. Because many of you are working in corporations because they had to have a certain amount of blacks in diversity to prove they could pass what was the bar. If they remove the bar of racial equity, contracts are gone. Jobs are gone. Promotion are gone. That's why it was important to show our strength in numbers last Saturday. And that is why we must follow it up now. Donald Trump's campaign unleashed an arrogance and a boldness that they could go after black rights unashamedly and do whatever they wanted, and we were not going to do nothing about it. That's why we said, no, we got to show our strength. We got to show we coming back to the street. And you got petty people. Well, I don't believe in marching. Good. Whatever you believe in, do that. I ain't going to shop this march. Wasn't my march. I'm good. But our folk are not good. And other folk are not good. And you are too caught up in your little minor ego to understand what they're trying to do to us. They're trying to rescind everything Dr. King and others achieved. And I don't care if you're a preacher, a teacher, whatever you are. If we don't fight now, our children will not have what we had. One of the things that Andre Waters King said that was true, her and Martin III's 15-year-old daughter is growing up with less rights than they had. No affirmative action. No women's right to choose. Kids growing up with less rights than we had. How did we get those rights? They fought for those rights. Nobody woke up one morning and said, let's be nice to Negroes. People suffered and died. So you had a better life than your mama had and your grandmama had. And the nerve of you to be sitting on your behind now while they take these rights where your children won't have it. I don't care how many TV shows they give me and radio shows. I'm not going to let Marcus Al have less rights than I have. They are committed to a tradition of slavery and segregation. They committed globally to colonialism. Look at what's happening all over Africa. You had the group, the Wagner group, the Prigozhin, who just went down mysteriously on an airplane. They were all over Africa, providing wheat to African nations from Russia. This is serious. So as they mess with Africa, Nigeria has a coup d'etat, then Gabon has a coup d'etat. There's instability in Africa and instability in the U.S. And black leaders too busy fighting each other than to stand up and understand that they are trying to turn back the clock on all of us. That's why if students can ride 30 hours to go to a march, and you old and grown and can't take a subway train 20 minutes, there's something wrong with you. We are in a critical stage, and if they can turn this election around, 2016, Trump ran, people run around, well, I don't like Hillary. Ain't much difference between Hillary and Trump. Well, you got 3 conservatives put on the Supreme Court. They took out affirmative action, taking out other rights. I didn't agree with everything with Hillary, but Hillary wouldn't have stacked that court like that. Sometimes you got to go with your best shot. But you such a Puritan. You're so pure, it's got to be perfect for you, like you perfect. And they're trying to raise everything they can. I get on the radio every day. Red Mal, I don't think we got enough for blacks. I don't either. But I think we got some things, and we'll get more if we can keep the right folk in. Sometime when you are in a game, you play offense and defense. If you can't advance, you at least hold what you got. If they win, they're going to take everything back. They're going to finish stacking these courts, finish putting federal judges on. Well, Red Mal, I think we ought to be dealing with economics. How you going to deal with economics if you got people like Blum in court saying it's against the law now to give black contracts based on them being black? Talk like you got good sense. We got to fight this. And we have to fight it with all we got. And when you sing in church, if you don't want to go, don't hinder me. Because I'm clear what I'm looking at. When we look at, everybody is looking at Ukraine. Why is the United States pouring all that money in Ukraine? Well, they're protecting U.S. interests. They ain't just loving Ukrainians. If Ukraine falls to Russia, then Poland and all of them countries surrounding it are at risk. They're trying to stop China and Russia's advancement. Well, why are you raising that, Red Mal? The only way you can get the U.S. government to do something is you must make it in their interest. If we can show 150,000 people in Washington and our votes, it is in the interest of Biden and them to deal with George Floyd bill, the John Lewis bill, because you can't get our votes without us, and we just showed you the numbers we could do. Political power is about interest. You mad. Nobody don't care you mad. Red Mal, I ain't taking no more. You done took it all this time, you gonna take some more. Don't care you mad. You get too mad, they got a thing called 911. They'll hit that dial and they'll have you locked in a cage, mad as you want to be. What they care about is us being strategic. With us thinking past our emotions. And that's why I wanted to break down to you why the march was so strategic. It messes them up. Chairman of the Congressional Black Caucus will be on my show tomorrow night. He and I met this week. He was saying it was important we show our strength because the visual, what people see, is what they want. Because we need to show our strength so when we negotiate, they know we ain't woofing, that people will stand for these bills being passed. Now, let me go to some of our faith leaders. I was so happy. Our chairman of our board, Reverend Dr. W. Franklin Richardson, who spoke at the march, but he also had Bishop Proctor, the AME Zion bishop, and all of our faith leaders, Reverend Jamal Bryant of New Birth Baptist Church in Atlanta, and other faith leaders there, our own Reverend Malcolm Byrd and Reverend Rivers and others. Because if our faith leaders are not standing up for our people, then who gonna stand? And how you gonna get in the pulpit tomorrow and preach out of a Bible that always had the leaders in the faith community stand up and prophesy about the affairs of the state? That's why I ain't even talked to Pastor McLaren and with his sermon with Jehoshaphat this morning. That is all about an invasion of a state politically. You can't take the politics out the Bible. They were not trying to invade them because they were saved and sanctified. They wanted to invade them because they wanted the land. And they were going to enslave the people. And because they were going to do that, the prophet could go to him and say, don't worry, because the battle isn't yours. It's the Lord's. What gives us the strength is knowing that it's not our battle. That's why I hear what folks say. It don't bother me. Reverend Al, didn't you hear they said so-and-so about you? It's not my battle. As long as I'm fighting the fight of righteousness. The battle isn't mine, it's the Lord's. You can't hurt my feelings because I'm not operating off my feelings. I'm going to march in Washington if I had to march by myself. Because the wicked needs to know what side I'm on. That's why I always go back. Sometimes God will let things happen to test your faith. Sometimes God will let things happen to see if you really got the faith you claim. Somebody sitting there today going through something. It may not be the devil. It may be God testing you. And the harder the test, the higher the reward. Problem is some of y'all want to choose your test. If you chose your test in school, you'd have passed every test with 100. You can't choose your test. That's not testing you. But when it looks hard, when it looks like you can't make it, when it looks like you can't figure it out, when it looks like those that should be helping you don't turn their back, that's when we see how strong you are. I used to worry, I used to get stressed when I was facing a challenge. But I learned now when I'm facing a challenge, I say, oh, God must be getting ready to promote me because he wouldn't test me He wouldn't test me if he wasn't going to promote me. And sometimes, some of those that you would think would be your best allies would be the ones bad-mouthing you. And I used to worry about that, Gwen Carr. I don't understand why so-and-so said so-and-so about me. I understand the right wing and Fox News and them, but why did brother so-and-so say so-and-so? But then I learned also with Clarence that there's a part in the Bible where sometimes God has to set you aside. You keep hanging with the crowd and you think the crowd is your power. You keep running with your buddies and you think that's your strength. I got this, they got my back. Sometimes God got to disrupt that, to set you aside so you know ain't nobody got your back but me. Sometimes you do, but depending on your family, you do depending on your friends. So sometimes God allows some disruption to come. So while you out there, nobody but you and the Lord. But if God be for you, it's more than the whole world against you. So I don't care who talk about me. I don't care who backbiting. I don't care what they say. The Lord will make a way somehow. I ain't guessing about it. I've been by myself before. But somehow, the Lord made a way. I told y'all the other week before the march that God and the devil got into a discussion. And the Bible says that God said to the devil, have you tried my servant Job? It's something to be part of a wager between God and the devil. But God knew no matter what the devil did, Job wasn't going to bow. Sometimes God will say, I let them at you because it'll strengthen you. And the devil went and said, I'm going to make Job curse you. Job's kids died. Job's wife died. Job lost his money, lost his fortune, lost his estate, lost everything. His wife didn't die. His kids were killed. His wife, who was the closest thing left to him, went from majesty to poverty. Lost her children. She got weak. Y'all got folk around you that's weak. And she went to Job and said, Job, you used to be respected. You used to be one of the patriarchs of the community. You used to be looked up to. Now they're laughing at us. They're scorning us. Why don't you just curse God and die? And Job, in all of his suffering, warts all over his body, health gone, living now in poverty and in pain. And he looked up through painful eyelids and said, I'm not cursing God and die. The Lord giveth, and the Lord taketh away. Blessed be the name of the Lord. I'm going to sit right here, and I'm going to wait for my change to come. Why could he say it? Because he know his change was coming. Because he may not be there when you want him, but he's always on time. And I come home from the march to tell you, we're going to keep marching till our change comes. We're going to keep organizing till our change comes. We're going to keep agitating till our change comes. The Lord giveth and the Lord taketh away. Blessed be the name of the Lord. I don't know about you, but I don't feel no waste time. I come too far from where I started from. Nobody told me that the road would be easy, but I don't believe he brought me this far to leave me now. From slave ships to being the masters of the ship, from being prisoners to president, I don't believe He brought me this far to leave me now. Well, I'll leave you with this. A guy asked me the other day, how do you stay so determined with all that's going on? Marching one day, massacring Jacksonville the next day shoot a pregnant woman in Jersey City. How do you go through it? I said, well, it's like a ship at sea. Sometimes you have smooth waters, but then sometimes waves come and the ship is tossed and driven. But what stabilizes the ship is not the deck. Some decks are beautiful, some are not. What makes a ship sturdy is its anchor. If the ship is anchored, it could be a yacht or it could be a work ship. If your anchor's there, storms may rise, billows may blow. And the reason I'm still here, I heard the Reverend say, Sharpton's still here. I'm still here at 68 because my soul is anchored in the Lord. Y'all want to know why I'm still standing? My soul is anchored in the Lord. It's not that I'm that strong or I'm that smart, but though the storms keep on raging in my life, and sometimes I don't know the night from the day, I keep my eyes on that place He has prepared for you and me. So even if the storms keep raging, even if the storms keep raging in my life, my soul, I can't speak for you, but my soul, I don't know about my mama no more, but my soul is anchored in the Lord. My soul is anchored in the Lord. Well, let me then go back to my message. Let me say this. As we think about my soul, and as we deal with our being anchored, don't forget that if it was not for the Lord on our side, come on, you was going to sing what my other part was. Go ahead and sing that. No waste time.
Come too far from where I started from. Nobody told me wrong would be easy, and I don't believe He brought me this far to leave me. Oh, I don't feel no waste time. I've come too far from where I started from. Oh. Nobody told me the road would be easy, and I don't believe He's brought me this far to leave me. Oh, I don't feel no waste time. I've come too far from where I started from. Nobody told me
Everybody's singing. Everybody's singing. Everybody's singing. Everybody's singing. Everybody's singing. Everybody's singing. Sing it like you mean it. Sing it like you mean it. Sing it like you mean it. We want justice. We want freedom. We want justice. I'm open the doors of the movement. There may be someone here today that listens to us on the radio or watches us on television or social media, but never joined National Action Network, never became a member. If you're here today, there's no better time than Labor Day weekend to join and become a member of the organization. Just come to me and sign up right now. Just come to me either aisle. Show them where to come. And let them come and join right now. You that are listening on the radio can call 1-877-626-4651. Brother Griffith, they don't know what to do. Y'all got to move and help them. Y'all standing still. You got to help folks. Everybody's singing. Everybody's singing. Everybody's singing. Everybody's singing. Golden. Everybody's singing. Everybody's singing. One more time, y'all. One more time, y'all. One more time, y'all. Everybody now. Everybody now. Everybody's singing. All right. We're going to raise our offering. You that are last minute on radio that want to help support National Action Network, go to www.nationalactionnetwork.net and you could give on the radio. www